Hi, we are Rob and Ali, sharing with you our passion of all things cruise and travel.
We recently did a short 3-night cruise on the P&O Pacific Adventure. The cruise was a theme cruise. It was Disco Glam, so all things sort of disco, but mainly 70s.
What we're going to do is we're going to go through each, we've categorised everything into, so we've gone from embarkation, the cabin, the activities, the facilities, the parties, and then we're going to give each of those separate things a score out of 10, and then we'll give you our overall impression of what we thought of the whole kind of the weekend away. And whether we enjoyed it or not. So starting off with embarkation, the passenger terminal in Sydney. It is a beautiful location. You could not fault it. Actually, once you get on board the ship and you sail away, it's spectacular. You have the bridge and the opera house and the ferries going past. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so the location is really, really good as well. It's at the Rocks. It's very easy to get to for the taxis. It's actually in the sort of the centre of Sydney.
Yeah, Circular Quay, but many say that the cruising out of Sydney Harbour is the best sail away in the world. To be honest with you, I wouldn't disagree. We live in Brisbane and we love Brisbane, but there's something very special about sailing out of Sydney.
It's fantastic. However, the cruise terminal itself, it's not a favourite of ours. So this isn't just a one-off experience. We have done this several times before and we get the same sort of vibe each time. It just feels very un-holiday-like start to your holiday. I don't know how else to describe it. It feels like you're being processed. The whole vibe has something about it, and there's often lots of queues. So there might be shorter queues at one stop, and then you'll get round the corner and there's another big long queue, and by the time you get to security, I've almost lost the will to live, I have to say. Several times I just kind of go, I can feel my mood. I start off happy and I can actually feel my mood going down. I just don't like the place. Do you? You kind of get the same, probably not as bad as me, but what do you think?
It's a means to getting on the ship. A plug for Brisbane here. Brisbane does seem to be a lot more organised and it's a lot quicker to get on the ship when we cruise out of Brisbane.
And the staff are all like really happy, and they're all kind of saying, oh, yeah, everybody's outfits are lovely, and just the whole process is better. That aside, the onboarding process then, once we were on board P&O, I thought it was fantastic. There were plenty of staff on board the P&O, didn't you think, that welcomed you on?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's as if it's the first passengers that have ever been on that ship. There is always a very welcoming vibe. They've probably been busy all day preparing, but they're still there, happy, friendly, smiling when you get on board.
You didn't feel lost or overwhelmed when you got on board. It feels very sort of friendly and easy to navigate, and the staff are ushering you through to go and do muster station and then down to your cabins. The cabin staff came to meet us, didn't they?
Yep.
Luggage arrived. Gosh, it was almost instantaneously. So we felt very much, our mood then went from kind of woo straight up. Hats off to the P&O crew, really, I think,
very well
for the welcoming there. And you were talking about the sail away party. Tell me a bit more about that one.
Sail away party is when you sail away. Absolutely, that's what it is. And as I said, sailing out of Sydney Harbour is so beautiful, seeing the harbour bridge and the opera house, and the music was playing. We love sail away. It's when your holiday starts.
And so they did a really good job on this cruise of keeping all the music kind of 70s and disco. It was a DJ playing, it wasn't live music, which is the norm. Entertainment team did a little bit of the dancing. It wasn't a lot of that. And the queues at the bars, they were pretty lengthy. I think you had a bit of trouble getting a beer, didn't you?
It's on par with a lot of the other sail away parties. Everybody's on board. They may have travelled. They're starting their holiday. It's sail away. It's probably the busiest time on the entire cruise that any bars will be, so it's always difficult to get drinks at that time.
So for our embarkation experience, we're going to give Sydney, I'm sorry Sydney, and we're not pitting Brisbane off against Sydney. We've come out of lots of other different ports as well, but Sydney, I'm sorry, you're coming quite low down on our scores for that, and we're giving you 5 out of 10. I don't know, just a lot more needs to be done about that experience there. But for the P&O, welcome on board. We're giving 8 out of 10 for that. We thought it was friendly, welcoming and efficient. It was very quick. So the next thing we're going to look at is the cabin.
We'd actually booked an obstructed ocean view cabin on deck 8, which we were quite happy with. We were happy with that, but we got upgraded 5 categories. Now, categories are based on location of ship on the ship, not necessarily sort of from an ocean view to a balcony. So location comes into plays a big part with the category upgrade. Anyway, we got five.
I thought I was going to be like royalty when Robert said 5 upgrade. Oh my God, we're in the penthouse.
It's getting pretty close to getting a different type of cabin. Anyway, so we got upgraded to a full ocean view cabin on deck 5, which is the main deck where the lobby is, where the atrium is, the cafes, the waterfront restaurant. It was a fantastic location. We love that location. Deck 5, it's low down, so there's less movement. It was towards the middle of the ship. It's just a few minutes walk from the cafe, which is great in the morning when you went your coffee. Fantastic. We didn't pay. It wasn't one of the bid for upgrades. They actually just upgraded us for whatever reason. We're not sure. It's just one of those random upgrades that we got.
Yeah. Everything was just seemed to be within, I was going to say within walking distance. Everything's in walking distance.
It's a ship.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it was in a great location. So the cabins on board the Adventure are mid-range kind of comfort class cabin. So they're simple, light, airy, beige. That's pretty much that's how I can sort of sum it up. They're small. The cabins are small. The layout didn't actually maximize the space either. We had the window, but the window was above the bed. So the beautiful views we had, you'd actually have to sort of kneel up on the bed to see them.
We'd been on ocean view cabins before, which have had a different layout, and the bed has been against the side wall, which allowed you free access to be able to stand in front of the window, have a look out of the window. As Alice said, the bed was actually up against that wall with the window, so in order to look out of the window, you needed to actually kneel on the bed and look over. So it's a shame. We had an ocean view, but we couldn't really take advantage of it because of that.
But it gave us great light in the morning to get up by. Yeah. It has everything in there, but they did actually give us an extra chair and a sort of smallish table, which the tables always come in handy for if you want room service or just your cups of tea and things like that. It got a little bit overcrowded, so we had to be a little bit creative about where we rearranged the furniture to suit us, so we weren't kind of dancing around each other. But if you had limited mobility, it might have been a little bit of a struggle getting round there. Suited us, it was fine. It was spotless. We did the dust test everywhere. The bed was super nice and comfortable, really firm.
Everything worked fine. The shower was nice and warm and hot. We didn't have any problems with the toilet. The fridge stayed very cold. Yeah, everything worked.
Great linens, great towels. We had turn-down service twice a day, didn't we?
Oh, yes. Yes, P&O are one of the few cruise lines that actually still give you that option these days. It
is an option. You don't have to have it. They will ask if you don't want it.
No, but it is nice, especially if you've had a bit of an afternoon nap. Sometimes some people like an afternoon nap, but it is nice to come back and have the bed freshly made and the curtains drawn. Yeah.
I guess a negative about the bathroom would be that the showers are very tiny and they still have the shower curtains. Yeah. So you get the dreaded shower curtain will either stick to you or overflow all over the ensuite. And if you've watched our other videos, you know that we just kind of do away with the shower curtain completely, throw it over the towel rail and don't bother. And it just just opens that whole space up. Fridge was icy cold. That was great. Air conditioning worked fantastically, very responsive, wasn't it?
The air conditioning, yeah.
So our overall opinion of the cabin.
Apart from the fact that that bed was the positioning of it, and I know there's a lot more to it than just the bed because the furniture's different than when they have it on the side wall. I couldn't fault it.
Yeah. Now the bathroom. There was nothing wrong with the bathroom. There's no scruffs, no damage to it or anything. It just looked like it needed a little bit of an upgrade. It just starting to just look its age a little bit. The ship's getting a bit
older now, Ollie, isn't it? So
But it wasn't dirty or grubby or anything in any way. It just looked like it needed that bit of a ding to it. So overall, we're going to give our cabin a score out of, I think we said 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
Sounds
we were
about right,
very
yeah.
happy with it. Next are the facilities. So these are all the kind of the amenities that are available. Fabulous amount of pools. They were all well kept. Lots of seating and lounges. Nothing was sort of broken and no broken tiles or anything like that. And they were all in full working order. So we were very happy about that. Also on the Adventurer, there was lots and lots of indoor loungy kind of areas, wasn't there? Lots of seating places that you could go to, either with or without music, depending on what you liked, and some with ocean views and without ocean views.
It was a full cruise, but it certainly didn't feel crowded. There certainly wasn't a shortage of anywhere to rest yourself.
Well, it was cold, wasn't it?
It was freezing.
It was. It was freezing.
Actually, no. Actually, after saying that, you're right. It was very, very cold outside, which meant that most people were inside a lot of the time. We did actually notice the fact that there were more people inside. As I said, it wasn't overcrowded, but there was certainly a lot more people around the inside decks. Yes,
but we always felt that we could get somewhere to sit. It's spacious enough, and there's enough areas to go to that it didn't feel kind of overcrowded or anything. The choice of bars indoors and outdoors, there was a good choice, wasn't there? And you could do beautiful cocktails, beautiful drinks, a really good selection of beers and things, wasn't there? You like your beer on tap, don't you?
I do like my beer on tap, and there are a couple of bars that do that. The Oasis Bar and the I was going to say Encounter Hotel, the Adventure Hotel there. They do some beers on tap. Luke's, which is at the front of the ship, I think, on deck 6, is your specialist cocktaily type and
the top end spirits and things.
Very nice area. That's
like a gentleman's kind of club.
Yeah, it feels a bit exclusive. Blue Room, we love the Blue Room for the bands that are on there. It's a great place for us. We usually end the night off at the Blue Room,
and they do beautiful cocktails and things. The mixers for your drinks. This is a big thing for me. I don't like the things on the tap. I just think it just ruins, it just kills the spirit that you've just spent good money on, and I don't like it. So I like the proper named cans or bottles of mixers. They have those in every bar for all your drinks, whether you're getting an alcoholic drink or just a non-alcoholic drink. So again, sometimes they'll save those for the alcoholic drinks, and people like me who don't drink, I get the stuff on the tap. So that was a really good thumbs up for me. The internet. Now, the internet, we didn't have a problem with the internet. It worked for us fine. You know, you'll sometimes see me with I can't remember the bone conductors that I wear. So I like to listen to things on that, and that's all on the internet. That was fine. You use your laptop at night. So that was good. No complaints about the internet there, which I know is a big thing for a lot of you guys. Now, the disappointment about the spa.
We're not talking about the spa here where you actually go and have your massages and your hot stone treatments. We're talking about the part of the spa where you have the saunas or the steam rooms or the you can buy the package, the thermal suite they call it on some of the other cruise ships as well.
So like the hot waters and things like that that you can go, and you normally do them together as sort of a couple because you go round. Yeah. You're going to wonder where I get these things from, but this was like a Soviet public bathing facility. That's what it reminded me of. It was like 2 separate cubicles, one for men, one for women. I think one person could sit in each, and it was like either side. It was blooming freezing because it was sort of half in and half out off the deck.
Yeah, I was in the Byron Beach club area it is as well. So
getting to it, because it's sort of half outside, was freezing. So you couldn't just walk in with a robe or something. And then you would have just sat in what was almost like an outside toilet, one in one side or one in the other. It just luxury. It just had nothing to do. I don't know what they're thinking of. But that definitely needs improving. It's neither one thing or another. It just needs to go, I think, even pretending it's on offer. Anyway, so our overall opinion really of those sort of facilities, where I guess it's limited. It's a smaller ship, isn't it? It's not one of these massive ships that has loads and loads of kind of facilities and amenities.
These days it probably is on the smaller side, isn't it? But or classed as on the smaller side as well, but it's still a fair size ship, isn't it?
I guess so, yeah. But it had everything we needed for this weekend getaway. And so apart from the spa kind of thermal thing, we thought it was pretty good. And we're going to give that a 7 out of 10. The next one is the activities. So the activities, we're talking here about the things that are they're organised activities that are organised by the cruise director and their team. Mm-hmm. So, guys, they had done fantastically, hadn't they?
There's usually, you get your staples that you get on any cruise. So you'll get your trivias, and you'll get there's a couple of game show type things that they always have. Things like Celebrity Heads is usually one of the ones on there. But there were a lot of new ones that have been introduced by the cruise director on this ship, and they were a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun. They did a murder mystery, for example. They did the, and I forget the name of the where you put a card up and you go higher, lower, higher, lower.
I thought it was play your cards right.
It may well be, but you know, when I say higher, lower, you know what I'm talking about.
Let us know. We felt that the entertainment staff had put their heart and soul into this, and because the weather, the sun was shining, it was glorious out on deck, but it was freezing, and so people would go out, grab a few lungfuls of fresh air, and then we'd all come back down inside. And so there was a lot of people that needed a lot of entertainment, and we got it.
And we did. They were absolutely fantastic. Hats off to the cruise director and all the entertainment team on the Disco Glam cruise. I think it was Abby. Excellent job, Abby, and the team.
Yeah, and they had things like the dance classes, you know, where you'd they'd show you how to do a routine, and then you'd join in. They were great fun. They were well organised. Craft. They had a couple of craft sessions on every day. And you get a small little extra cost for that because you have to pay for the items that you're using. That's all you're paying for, though, on that. You're not paying for them to show you how to do it. So that was more than what you normally get. You normally may get one, but I think they had 2, sometimes 3 in a day. And then there was still also all the sports tournaments. You went to do a sports tournament.
Shuffleboard. That was... yeah.
Bring home the medal, darling.
It was so cold outside. There were 4 of us in the first competition, and I came last but the one the next day, I was the only person who turned up, so it was totally abandoned.
I know, you should have got the gold by default because now
I was sort of hoping. I got my hands out, so I'm like, yeah, I'm the only one.
Give me my medal.
He wouldn't give it me. He cancelled the whole thing. But it was cold. It was cold.
And then during the day, then they had there's live music in the atrium. So that's obviously your main social kind of gathering place.
In the lobby, yes.
Always live music that's changing throughout the day, which is lovely. You know, when you're going from one thing to another and you just stop and pause and you listen, or you just have your nice cup of tea or coffee or something. It was real quality that they put on for that. So we thought lots of activities, plenty of choice. The staff of the entertainment crew were just, I'm going to put them at the top.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that team
were great.
at the top of any cruise ship we have been on. That's something, isn't it, to say? Yeah. And so we are going to give the activities and the entertainment team 9 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Something to beat there. Food and restaurants. Let's get on to the food and restaurants. So, you're always best on the restaurants. Explaining the 3 rotational restaurants.
There are 3 included dining restaurants on the P&O ships, on the P&O Pacific Adventure. You've got the waterfront restaurant, which is Western type food. You have the Dragon Lady, which is an Asian fusion type restaurant, and you have Angelo's, which is Italian. That's not pizza. There is a separate pizza restaurant, but that's a specialty dining that you pay for. If you book the early or late dining sessions, you will be rotated around those restaurants. So when you get to your cabin, there will be a letter there which will say which restaurants you're in and which day and what time your booking is for. You can change those. We did change those. We swapped a couple around to accommodate some of the things that we wanted to do, and it was not a problem. The food at the restaurants was great. We didn't feel the need to go to the specialty dining restaurants, so we didn't.
This was so well organised that was well taken care of. I would say the only one was in the Dragon Lady, where the service just got slower and slower and slower, and we wanted to go to the theatre. We want, you know, we have our evening sort of planned out as everybody does, and so we were starting to get a little bit sort of anxious that we'd been left. We'd sort of had the first course, and then it was like it just dragged on. That was a little bit, that was just one little criticism there. Otherwise, the service and the food, we would say, was really pretty good. So breakfast is in the waterfront or in the pantry if you want to just go self-serve. There's a good selection, isn't there, in both? You can really have as much as you want, even on the set menu in the waterfront.
Now, the waterfront did get a little bit busy on one of the mornings, and they opened up Angelo's, which is generally used for the breakfast for the Byron Beach Club passengers. But they opened a section. We rubbed shoulders, didn't we, with that? Well, not really, no, because they keep you separate. But it's they open up a section of Angelo's as an overflow restaurant for the waterfront. So when it was really busy that particular morning, we got put in Angelo's, which was lovely because there's a little bit more space. The tables are set out. It's the same menu, same food, but it is a little bit, you get a little bit more room and it's a little bit quieter. So that was lovely. Yeah.
So I think what happens on these theme nights, on these themed cruises, is that everybody wants to party, and so everybody, I guess, stays up a little bit later than what you would on a normal cruise. And I think it throws out the staff in the morning for breakfast because people are arriving all at once a lot later. So it's a pretty long time for the breakfast session, but they get a little bit overwhelmed, and we sort of felt that the staff got a little bit rushed at breakfast time. They were still pleasant, but they kind of the staff just put their heads down, and they just have to get on with it.
Yep.
And so you kind of lose. No
problem with that.
Yeah, you kind of lose that little bit of kind of the normal friendliness and everything from it. And then things like getting your toast and getting your juice and the muffin guy coming, all that's kind of a little bit all over the place, and you might not get a top off on your tea and coffee. So it started to get a little bit chaotic. So could have been better. It was okay. It wasn't a problem, but it could have been better. Now, lunchtime. We do like to have a nice sit-down meal at the waterfront for lunchtime.
Yeah, which is open between 12 and 1:30.
Now, there were queues for that because the time, it's just not long enough.
Yeah, they could do with opening that an extra half hour, I think, just 12 till 2, and that would alleviate a lot of the queues. We actually went, and we were in time, and we went and queued up for the waterfront. It was clear that it was going to take a long while to get in.
Queuing all the way back to Charlie's Bar.
So we abandoned that and went to the pantry.
The queue was moving, but it was moving very slowly, so we've decided to abandon the waterfront for today and go up to the pantry.
We had a lovely meal at the pantry, but not where we were going to go that day. So
if I want to go and get hot food, I'm not in love with the pantry because I feel like by the time you find your table and then you're backwards and forwards. But normally if you want something just like a salad or a soup and salad or a sandwich, which really for a lunchtime, that's normally, I guess, what you'd normally have, it's fine. There's plenty of choice and lots of nice seating area there.
That might be what you normally have at home, but when you're on a cruise, don't forget, you need all 3 courses.
Well, that's
more.
I guess that's what I'm trying to hint at is, yeah. And we found the salads, actually, the salad bar at the pantry to be...
yeah, it wasn't great, was it? It was leaves and...
Just leaves.
That was pretty much it, really.
I don't even think they had tomatoes. I think it was just...
No, it was just some leaves.
So, and I love salad with everything. Yeah. So, so that could have done with being improved. I don't know what happened there. Maybe the delivery didn't get on board because that's not usual for P&O. And then the dinner, lots and lots and lots of variety on the menus. And everything came hot. I mean, it should be a given, shouldn't it, that everything should come hot. It's not our experience on these cruises that things can quite often be quite lukewarm, and it does kind of, it takes away from the whole eating experience of a cruise if everything's just that lukewarm. Everything was hot. It was lovely. The coffee shop is beautiful. That's the Avalon Bar. That will have that has cakes and pastries and
We're still yet to
board.
try some of those the cheese board and the charcuterie.
We look at it every time and
we're
say,
still yet to do that.
But that's all on offer there.
There were quite a few people that we saw buying them though, and they did look good, and they looked there looked to be a lot on there. It was a good portion.
Not hugely expensive either. Of course, then there's the pizzas and the burgers. You pay extra for these. They are on the Lido deck, and there's one on one side and one on the other side here. So you have to go do 2 separate queues. If you've got a family or you each like something separate, you'll have to go and queue separately for that. Pizzas are made individually for you, and they give you kind of a menu of what you can have.
They are lovely.
But everybody starts changing up what's on that menu, what you can have. I'll have a bit of pineapple, and I don't want olives and everything. And then they're made just for you.
Who puts pineapple on a pizza?
I know.
We won't get into that debate.
I'd actually quite like it. I don't have it, but I don't mind it. And they put it in the little proper pizza box, so you can sneak it back to your room or whatever little cozy corner you want to go and find. You can actually just walk around, take that anywhere with you if you wanted to. So, yeah. That was fabulous. Pizzas and burgers were great. And then they've got the New Zealand ice cream bar as well.
The New Zealand Naturals ice cream, lovely.
I tried that. I do like the nice top quality ice cream or sorbet every once in a while. Don't have them very often, but I really enjoyed that. And the coffees on both the Avalon bar and the New Zealand ice cream. And then there was another bar as well that does the coffees. All places that do the coffee, 10 out of 10. And again, I'm very, very picky about my coffee. And because I have specialty milk as well, it can get ruined. Yes, it can really pull down my cruise if I don't get a decent coffee on a whole cruise. I get a frilly lip. But I was sorted. I was happy, wasn't I, on this one?
You were.
So,
especially seeing as our cabin was only a few metres away.
I know. You could just go and get coffee all the time. So we didn't try any of the speciality restaurants. We didn't feel we needed to on this short break. So we were well looked after, weren't we, on our food requirements. So we thought it was a good standard for a moderately priced cruise.
Yeah,
so,
I think we always need to bear in mind that it is the budget end of the market.
So please, when people comment and say, you're not used to good food or I've had better, we all have. But we're saying for this class and this price, we thought this was a good choice and good quality. Everything was fresh. Yeah. Nothing was sort of out of a packet or everything deep fried. So, that's a thumbs up in our note. So we would just say that the service could have been improved a bit for breakfast, and the tea and the coffee served with breakfast and the juice was a bit, but that's poor.
Yeah, the juice is very, very sweet and the coffee is very, very American.
Yeah, so we would say that could do with improving. But apart from that, we're going to give that an 8 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Next up is the nightlife.
I love the nightlife. I love the boogie.
Oh, that was straight out the box. This cruise couldn't have done this better. This nightlife was fantastic. The theatre, beautiful, full-sized theatre, and we had Fabba.
Fabba was Fabba.
Fabba was
fabulous. It was. Yeah, they were great. They're an ABBA tribute band. They got quite a few people up on stage as well, different groups, and they got them up dancing with them.
Then on the next night we had what was called 8 Tracks.
It's a compilation. It was a compilation. I'll get that word out. Compilation of disco hits and disco songs, which we all remembered. We did remember them. Yeah,
I was thoroughly entertained. I loved it. They perhaps didn't get everybody up singing the same, but your parties are for that. This really is a sit-down theatre show. I like it to be like on this level because I've just eaten. This is my opportunity to kind of get entertained without actually having to do anything.
True.
So yeah, you liked it. You thought it was good.
I thought they were great, and just a great way to sort of like segue into the evening, I guess, really, from between your food and your deck partying, or lobby partying, because they were lobby because it was too
so
cold for the. They would keep saying it was cold, but it was cold.
Where's the Such wimps, I know.
But
we moved from the UK to Australia to get out the cold.
Got to acclimatise
So we
now,
have to
though.
moan at every opportunity whenever it gets a little bit cold for us.
But going on to that live music on the deck, the deck parties, on the lobby parties, it was superb, fantastic. Everybody joining in, everybody having a really, really good time. Can't fault the bands that were playing for the nighttime party shows.
I think, do you know what made the whole thing great was the passengers. Everybody was just fun and friendly, and the staff were everything was served to you. You know, you got your drinks served really well, efficient, well run, felt safe. Yeah, it did feel safe. And the flow, so you could flow from one thing to another without kind of any stops or any kind of, I've got nothing to do now for a half an hour. Never felt like that where you were just at a loose end or anything like that.
Not at all. And the bands that were playing in the Adventure Hotel and in the Blue Room, fantastic. As I said, we love to end the night in the Blue Room. If we don't go to the casino for an hour afterwards. But yeah, we usually end the night in the Blue Room, and again, we've not seen a bad band there yet.
It's got the lighting and the sound levels are so that you can get up and have a dance if you wanted to. Often people don't dance at all in the Blue Room, but you can do, or you can sing along. But it's light enough and at that level where you can still talk to each other or talk to other people.
We do like the Blue Room
that have joined at your table. So you're not shouting like at a nightclub, it's that kind of wind down sort of night. Bar service was good. Everything was served to you properly. So I still got the olives and the lemons and things in my drink. You still got a proper pint poured. It was lovely. Spoiled for choice with the activities as well, and the quality of the entertainment.
Yeah.
Just brilliant. And because of that, we're going to give this section 9 out of 10. You can see these scores for something I thought was going to be a bit tacky and a bit under par. Disembarkation process. So
there's two choices on P&O cruise ships. You can either put your luggage outside your cabin the night before, and it will be taken off and put in the baggage hall in the passenger terminal, or you can walk off with your luggage yourself. If you walk off with your luggage, you can go off at pretty much any time and a little bit earlier. Otherwise, you're allocated times to get off the ship. We were actually working in Sydney that day, so we needed to be off fairly early, but we grabbed the tags for an early-ish time. I forget which time it was. I think it was around about 7 or 7:30 that we grabbed our tags for. We put our bags outside the cabin so that they were taken off. We left the ship pretty much on time. In fact, I think we may have even left a little bit earlier, actually, after having a great last breakfast in the waterfront hotel. We left and we picked our bags up and went off straight off to work. Absolutely seamless, no issues whatsoever.
So the night before, you leave your cases outside of the room. Very generous time, so it's up until 8 p.m, so 8 p.m. the night before, so you don't feel rushed and you're packing or anything like that. You vacate your rooms at 8 a.m. in the morning. Again, that you're not rushed. I mean, that's very generous that you can stay in your room until 8 a.m.
It is, because when we go on the Pacific Encounter from Brisbane, usually that's a 7 a.m. out of your cabin.
Yeah. And your breakfast for the morning of disembarkation, you get a full service breakfast. It's available from 6 a.m. in the restaurant and from 5:30 in the Avalon bar, which is the where you pay for your coffee, and you can get toasted sandwiches and stuff.
And the pantry's open as well.
And you go to the pantry 5:30 if you wanted to. So if you were working, we were working, but we were.
Or if you've got flights and you need to get off at an earlier time.
Yeah, so it works both ways, that you can be up, out, have a breakfast and be gone really, really early. Or if you just, you've got time on your hands like that, you don't have to be out of your room until 8 o'clock. Your key card still works, so you can still go and get your proper coffee from the likes of the Avalon bar, or a little toast or something.
Yeah, you had the refreshments package on that cruise, and you could still get a coffee in the morning on your refreshment package, even on that last,
if it
was the last, though it was the last morning. Yes,
it was very busy to disembark. A little bit of a queue. but nothing really to write home about. And then when you get off, as you say, you just go and pick your bags up, and very easy. The whole process was very easy, I have to say. And for that reason, we're giving it a 9 out of 10. Don't think you could really improve much on that.
No.
On that whole process. So then our wrap up of the cruise ship review. So overall, the ship is lovely. It's well kept. It's well organised. It's well looked after.
For an older ship, because she's knocking on a bit now. She's getting on a few years.
But all the staff are great. I would say, or both of us are going to say, the whole cruise exceeded our expectations, really. I would just say in terms of...
I wasn't honestly sure whether I wanted to relive the 70s at all. We lived through the 70s. It wasn't particularly great when we were there, to be honest with you. And I've got to say, second time round was a lot better.
The funny thing, I don't class the 70s as my era. For me, the 80s was my era. I might have been alive in the 70s, but I just... It's outside my kind of thing. I'm not pretending to be younger than I am. Honestly, I just feel the 80s then became my vibe, my thing. And I did really think that I was not going to enjoy a lot of that 70s disco music. And I had a blast. I absolutely
it was fun.
Loved it. Overall, we're going to give the actual cruise ship review 8 out of 10.
Yes.
But we're going to do a separate section. So this is, to make things all fair, this is our holiday vacation review. And so what we want to say is, was this worth our time and worth our money? So it's not the ship review. It's like as a holiday. So this is a holiday. It was a weekend getaway. So it's not a big luxury cruise. It's not our main cruise. It's not for Christmas or something like that. This is a weekend getaway. That's all it is. And we made the effort of actually flying to Sydney. So for all that, Robert, the having to fly a whole weekend out of our lives and how much it cost, did it meet your expectations?
When's the next one?
When's the next one? That's all we can say. It works. The size of the ship works for this sort of cruise because there's so many activities, and the theme really, that is what it's all about. And I would say, even though it's because it's a party ship, I always have a little bit of reservations about whether or not it's going to feel like just one big giant hen night or stag night, and everybody's going to be rolling around kind of drunk from 9 o'clock in the morning. Right the way through, and I just kind of hesitated that. I mean, I like to have a laugh at everything myself, but there's a limit. Wasn't like that at all. You still get that nice vibe, don't you? And you still get looked after. With everything.
Absolutely.
So for all that, we're going to say for a holiday or for a vacation, we are going to give that 9 out of 10. We came away very happy and felt that it was money well spent. The only thing we probably missed was having like the thermal or the spa, just to go and have maybe a couple of hours in that, just to unwind. Just because we just like doing it. That would probably be our only thing why it didn't get 10 out of 10. And that's our review of that.
It is.
We hope you enjoyed watching that, and take it away, Rob, for the outro.
If you'd like the video, please hit like. If you
didn't, don't hit dislike, please.
But do hit subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see more of our videos. Thanks for watching. Bye from us.